What is the dumbest thing you have ever done while high? Turn the TV down to taste food easier. Using my phone as a light to look for my phone. Put a glass straight out of the dishwasher into the fridge to cool it down. Multiple times. Go to gas station, walk over to attendant, pay for gas, walk back, get in the car and drive off, just to realize 30 minutes later why am I on empty again so fucking fast. Oh fuck. Saw a huge spider on the wall and decided the best way to kill it was with a straight leg lunge. I put a gigantic hole in the wall and I have no idea what happened to the spider. Went pee in a crowded women's restroom and didn't realize it until halfway through peeing. Trying to text my brother where my phone was. Stood in an elevator for about 5 minutes before realizing that no one pressed any buttons. I once stopped at a stop sign and zoned out waiting for it to turn green. Ride my motorcycle with a passenger. I was scrolling through my phone settings to find some music that's not as funny as your comments, but that thing confused me. Believed in school, went to college, got a career, never again. Asked a cop for Isla. I was in my car hotboxing alone at like 2 AM in a wooded parking area. All of a sudden I thought a crazy person was vigorously shaking my car for 5 seconds. Got out and no one was around. I was seriously questioning my sanity at that point. Didn't realize until I saw the news next morning that there was a 5.0 earthquake overnight and that I didn't smoke laced bath salts. Woke up one morning after a party, switched on the PS4 to realized I spent €350 on games on the PS Store. Shitty games. Really shitty ones. I ordered 2 pigs off a Craigslist after a back operation when I was still out of it. Smoke dog shit. Long story and I wished it was a joke but really happened. Lost my cell phone while I was talking on it. 42. I was making out with a guy during the day. It got a little rough. I have sensitive skin and my nipple got a little bruised. When I got high, I thought it hurt because I had a viral infection from the injury and I was going to die from it. I kept screaming I was Khal Drogo. This was our 3rd date. I can't imagine how mentally scarred he must have gotten. Asterisk I apostrophe M too short to be high asterisk. Masturbating on my patties thinking I was the mayo monster. In the middle of a board game, I stood up to get another beer, a few feet from the game table, but had to remove the gallon of milk from the fridge to get the beer. I picked up the jug and matched eyes with an on-high friend of mine, for some reason thought I'd make him laugh by pretending to pour the milk on my head. The cap was not on the jug properly. My friend watcher stoned me, took a gallon of milk and poured it on my head. Everyone was just as confused as I was, as there was no rhyme or reason for any of it. My explanation for why it happened wasn't very valid. Smoked more. I came up with an awesome rap song. So I wrote that shit down, son. When I found it the next morning, it was so stupid that I burned the paper. And over the next few days, I contemplated how stupid someone would have to be in order to think that was good in any way. Let alone awesome enough to actually write down. And that was one of a few things that led to me quitting drugs altogether, almost 25 years ago now. Sat in an office type chair and spun around, halfway falling off due to the force and my lack of stability. Had a blast. My time to shine. I tried to convince myself that I could ride a bike without touching the pedals. Ended up catching my foot in the gears and getting an 1-inch long cut on my ankle. Would not recommend. Bit my inner lip while eating an apple on a flight from DC to Denver. Sex. On vacation in California with my brothers and some friends, and we were all helping make dinner. It was some Bombers bacon mac and cheese. My job was to chop up the bacon. Well, I ate 2 edibles at the beginning of dinner prep, and by the time the bacon was done in the oven, I was the one fully baked. I spent an eternity tearing the bacon into tiny pieces by hand and complaining how hot it was the whole time. Only when I was finished did somebody suggest I should have used a knife. Told a 2-hour extemporaneous, and frankly, offensive, Forks Native American legend at a campfire to a non-consenting audience. I made it a challenge to go an entire transatlantic flight without taking a piss. Never suppress urination while that high in the air. Turned down the radio to better see the house number. Back when I was in college, I took this science fiction literature class, and one day our professor said she was going to do a night screening of Moon if we wanted to come watch. I had heard great things about that movie, so I definitely wanted to go, and so did my girlfriend and a couple of other friends of mine. Before going, my friends and I were smoking a bunch of weed and watching Futurama. The last episode we watched was the late Philip J. Fry, which include this scene, https://comp.io/i05orp, in the opening of Bender singing. That song got really stuck in my head, and I kept singing it to myself throughout the episode. We smoke one last spliff and head to go see the movie. The screening was going TKB in this small classroom auditorium, and we sat kind of near the middle to get the best view. There were some technical issues that the teacher couldn't figure out, and there were like 3 other kids from my class trying to help her out with it. I was so stoned and really bored, so I leaned over to my girlfriend and started quietly singing Hambone to her. Or so I thought. She slugs me in the arm and tells me to be quiet because everyone is looking. Apparently, I was singing it much louder than I thought I was, and everyone was indeed looking at us, and all I could do was laugh. My girlfriend struggled to hold back her laughter too now, and my buddies that had come with us joined in. Now it was super obvious that we were all completely stoned, laughing at pretty much nothing. Some dumb shit, then 28 days in county jail. Are we counting lust as being high? Poured myself a nice bowl of Coca-Cola. So one time, and honestly I'm almost 30 and this was about 2 years ago. I was getting high and my buddy passed me his one hitter. Now I'm a lightweight, I have been all my life. On top of that I hate dabs, they give me panic attacks. My buddy on the other hand only likes dabs and just thought I was being a bitch, so he mixed his weed and wax and loaded it in the one hitter. About 30 minutes into that, Conan World Traveler show time stopped working. It was as if my mind was moving in space and time while my body was delayed. Instant full panic attack comes rushing in. I stand up and look at my friend and say, I'm dying, I need to go to the hospital. Now I should add my son and fiancé are asleep at this point, and I run into her room while she's sleeping and say, I'm going to the hospital, I'm dying. I run out of the house and keep yelling, come on, I need to go to the hospital, I'm dying. We get in the car, and as he's driving to the hospital he says, wow, I didn't believe you, dabs really do give you panic attacks. The realization that it was the wax and not a heart attack hits me. I start to calm down right as we get to the hospital. I ask him to drive around the city because it's calming while I calm down. I get back home and watch the show We Bare Bears until 2 AM and finally get some sleep. That was one of the dumbest nights I had stoned. I walked into a fast food place, made a huge order. I got all my food and drink, sat my food on a table, and went to use the bathroom. Then I walked out and went home and didn't realize what I did for at least 2 hours. Got a cocktail bar manager pregnant. I once went into an old railway tunnel in a small town in the UK to have an adventurous smoke. It was huge and deep underground and ran for at least 5 miles. We climbed in and explored and were greeted by a farmer with a rifle on our way out who claimed it was private property, prone to caving in and covered in dangerous mold. The idea of being caved into a deep underground tunnel where no one would ever find us was terrifying. Don't explore underground tunnels unless you know they are safe. If anyone is interested in pics of the tunnel, https://www.28daysletter.co.uk/thread/ashby railway tunnel ashby de la Zouch July 2015.98082/ Snapped my elbow whilst trying to backflip. Quite a bad break, lost full use of that arm forever and regularly in pain as a result. I threw my socks in the trash instead of the laundry basket. Twice. They weren't even in the same room.